Welcome everybody, it's Rev. We're doing a little bit different of a video today. I'll just be straightforward with you. I've been sick as fuck the last few days, so I'm still sick. So I don't, just been had a lot of time. I've just been laying down, so I was like, fuck it, like I'll just make a video. So I am not mentally all here. Um, reason I'm saying that is the video is going to be a little different. So I am going to show you two decks that I've been working on and some test hands. And again, I get it. They're test hands. They're not that valuable, but I've played some uh, games on an alt with some of these decks, and like it's been insanely good, like insanely good. So I honestly think like I might have found just like the new recipe for Dragon Turbo. And there's two different decks, and this deck looks like shit. I know it looks like shit, but let me explain myself for these two decks. I'll clip it, and then we'll go into some test hands so you guys can see like kind of what I'm talking about. So we're going to talk about the theory of it. We're going to talk about the deck building choices and the side deck, because the side deck looks absolutely nuts. So Um, what I was running into a lot when I was playing Dragon Turbo a few months ago, just because I haven't really played this deck much in like at all actually, like in a very few months. Like I think the only games I've played were like maybe like two games against some of my World League teammates when they said they wanted to like practice against it, and I'm like not even that great with the deck, quite frankly, just because I haven't played it that much, or at least like lately I haven't played with it much. So what I was running into when I was playing Dragon Turbo, because I did, play it for several weeks a few months ago, was um, that Reckless Greed is pretty shit when you're going second, but it's pretty good, but not incredible when you're going first. So I came up with two separate theories to try to um, make this deck less RPS dependent and give you flexibility with the RPS too. So something I saw Ghost Rider doing, which is quite frankly the only Dragon Turbo player I would ever pay attention to. Like, don't pay attention to other Dragon Turbo players. Like, pay attention to Ghost Rider. He's the only guy that gets it at this point. But what I saw him try was Allure of Darkness and Clear Vice Dragon. And I think he ran a list where it was one Allure, one Clear Vice. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I tried it myself and frankly was quite underwhelmed. But I got to thinking, and I got to thinking like what the different variables are with Dragon Turbo that determine your win percentage. And the first one is your opening six. And I know that hurts a lot of Dragon Turbo players' egos, but this is a very, very opening six dependent deck. If your opening six is mid, it's an uphill battle. If it's good, you auto win. And if it's bad, you auto lose. That goes for a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, but with this deck, even more so. So I was thinking, what are the variables that make your opening six um, like good or bad? Um, and there are a lot of things, which is, first and foremost, absolutely whether or not you open a discard card like a trade-in plus discard fodder like Clear Vice, or like, cards of consonance, stone, debris. Um, And then also the other one, like if you toy around with the variables, is your deck size. So if you run the numbers on like what you're opening, like let's just call this like an opening like conversion. So you like can convert a trade in plus like a blue eyes, or like your opening conversion rate of opening a cards of consonance plus like a tuner. Um, but that's really, really dependent on your deck size. So if you were to, for instance, run a deck size of 40 with no upstarts, the math gets way more grim um, than if you run a deck with three ups, or it gets way better. Sorry me if you run three upstarts. Sorry, this is the sickness kicking in. But really, the deck size is super important. So I was like, oh, are there any other really cards that could like kind of count as not actual deck size? And one of those is Dark World Dealings. Um, yes, it's a -1. Yes, it allows your opponent to dig for cards that hurt your deck. And yes, it does fuel their graveyard, but it reduces your deck size. And the other thing that popped into my mind is, are there other cards that fuel other parts of your engine? Yes. Dark World Dealings allows you to fuel Super Rejuvenation. It allows you to search for your blue eyes when you have a trade-in. Because how often does it happen when you have a stone and a trade-in? A lot. A fucking lot. So what if you had stone trade-in Dark World Dealings? That turns your Dark World Dealings into a -0, and it allows you to search for blue eyes and convert your trade-in, which is just insane. The other thing that I thought was interesting with this deck is Allure of Darkness and Clear Vice Dragon. So the reasoning for this is Clear Vice serves a few purposes. Yeah, on its own, it's kind of shit. It does have some uses actually against Blackwings. It's actually decent against any deck that runs Honest. So that's a minor plus, but the major plus is that it gives you more conversions for trade-in, and it gives you more conversions for Allure. And why that's really important is the math I ran on Dragon Turbo Opener math. When you add a card that has multiple cards to convert it. So Clear Vice Dragon has trade-ins to convert it, and it has Allure to convert it, which is really important. Not only that, it makes your magical stones better because you have more dragons to pitch. It makes your card destruction better. It makes your future fusion better. It, of course, as I had explained, makes your Dark World Dealings better. It allows you to get pot live faster because you have more monsters. Allure, of course, it makes better. It makes basically your entire spell lineup better. So it's really good. And then you also might be wondering why Reckless Greed in the side. Well, the idea for this is, I mean, I guess you could sub out like this discard engine and like start with the Reckless Greeds and then sub it in depending on if you go first or second. But the reason this deck is built the way it is because it's better going second. Spells objectively are better going second than first. So the reasoning behind that is you do mathematically, as a fact, play more going second games than you do going first. Um, that's a mathematical fact. It's just because the first one's a 50-50 and there's either one additional game or there's two additional games. So you will mathematically always have a deck that is going to go second more than it goes first. So that's why I thought it would be better to keep the going second version like this. So the reason the Reckless are in the side is you may feel Reckless is a really good card, and you may feel it's uncuttable. You may also feel that it's good going second, and in that case, you're wrong. It's shit going second. So what you can do is if you go first, either in game 2 or 3, you sub in the Reckless, and then you flex between a really go second heavy build, which is this, or you go with a really heavy going first build, which is the Reckless Greeds, and you can kind of tune what you want to take in and out. It's probably the Allure Clear Vice package, and then you can flex these out to bring in your tech cards. And another thing, like, which is separate, but like the Dragon Turbo side has a lot of space. Quite frankly, I know people don't think that, but when you really think about how Dragon Turbo sides, like, you can't just be bringing in 2 decrees, buddy. Like, that's absurd. You cannot be running 2 floodgates. Like, it's like you could really easily cut like every floodgate down to 1, and then like learn how to actually side with Dragon Turbo. Um, but there's a shit ton of space in Dragon Turbo just because your engine is so large, and pretty much in any given matchup, you can side so that you don't have to side out any engine. And people aren't doing that. They're like siding out their engine and making their deck shit games 2 and 3. Like, stop, please stop. Um, Side in like 3 cards and then you're good to go. Do your unfair stuff. Stick with that. All right, so next is this version of it. This is less tested. I was just kind of playing around with like another idea, which is that if you wanted to pre-side the other way, which would be, um, let's say you want this to be your game one deck, and by again, all by no means this is not like like a refined side deck on my end either, but like what you could do is like let's just say you want to enter a tournament and start with this, which I think is a very good Dragon Turbo build, and then let's just say you're going second. Boop, there you're going second, and then your deck's basically the same, and then you can figure out what you want to do with like any flex spots that you feel appropriate to side in maybe two of these cards. Don't go siding in 5 fucking cards in Dragon Turbo. That's absurd. That is fucking absurd. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna clip it here just because I need to get some water. My throat's killing me, and then we'll just do like 10 test hands with each deck and just kind of see where it falls. Now, again, I get it. Test hands are test hands. They do not take into consideration any context of the game. Um, and what you would do. They're just test hands. I totally get the fallibility of this, but I'm just really not feeling up to play some games with this right now. Um, the last thing I'll say with test hands is I did the math on like what your let's just say like discard card plus conversion would be. So like in a normal Dragon Turbo build, you'd have 3 cards of consonants with 7 targets, that being Debris, Flamvell Guard, and then White Stones. And then with Trade In, you'd have 3 targets, which is 3 Trade In, 3 Blue Eyes. And I ran the math on like all of those being like 37 card decks, 35 card decks. And I wanted to highlight the difference, which is that with traditional Dragon Turbo, just turn one, your opening 6, which I've already said my piece on, which is that the opening 6 is the most important thing in this deck. So optimize around your opening 6. Um, you have a 45% chance to open cards of consonants plus a target or trade in plus a target. That's um, the math is a little bit off, just like depending on your deck side, but it's let's just say 45% plus or minus roughly. Because there is some like things that are going to throw off the percentage a little bit. Like if you opened like both a trade in and a blue eyes, and then also a cards of consonants and a um, like white stone, and then if like the order you activated them, so like the math does get a little hairy, but it's about 45%. The version that I showed you here, I did some math on as well. And if we count a conversion as a lure plus a dark, which could be like a clear vice, like a Trogodia, and whatever else you might have. And again, I totally get you might not want to banish your darks, so honestly, Allure might not be it. Quite frankly, it just might not be that great. But assuming that you count this as a 35 card deck with the 2 Dark World dealings, um, and you have 7 consonants targets, you have 6 targets for Allure, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you have 3 trade-in, or sorry, 3 trade-ins and 5 targets, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Um, then your openers are at about 68 to 69 nice percent to open a conversion hand, which is insane. Like you're going from what was it, 45% to like roughly 68%. And then also you're getting to run a card that makes your blue eyes searchable. So like let's say you open a hand of like consonants, trade in Dark World Dealings. Dark World Dealings, draw a card, pitch consonants, now your blue eyes is live. Like it's crazy like when you add like a few more conversions for cards like trade in, like how much better the math gets. If you were to not run Allure at all, which frankly might be the way. Like, I don't know if Allure is it right now, just because you don't really want to banish anything, to be honest. And like, you're running 3 cards, well, like 4 cards that are like very important. So like, maybe Allure's just frankly just kind of shit. I don't know. Um, but the math does get a little bit worse. So if you just cut the Allure out of that, the opening conversion percent would be 59%, pretty much on the dot. So um, that's pretty crazy. Like, even if you were to just cut Allure and go with Dark World Dealings, your conversion rate gets a lot better. And then also another thing I want to talk about is how Dark World Dealings like really enables your rejuve. Like, so sometimes you can like Dark World Dealings, like pitch a white stone and then like maybe have like another discard, like half of a card with like a magical stone or something, and then you like get back a rejuve. Like, just having the additional discards makes those like kind of rejuves that aren't doing that much get you like an additional card or two sometimes, which I think is really helpful. And which is also why Allure might not be it. Like, banishing is just really not good in this deck. But that's just something I wanted to bring up. The you know the thing about rejuve, which I love with this build, is that when you draw it and you've discarded it, like in this deck, that's like of course amazing. There are the other hands where you discard a shit ton and you just can't find a rejuve. This allows you to get 1 card deeper. And then there's also a ton of hands, and it allows you to get 1 card deeper 1 turn sooner, as opposed to Reckless, by the way. But there's also those hands where you like draw a rejuve and you don't like draw much to discard, and like that's just as frustrating. It's like, damn, like this is a rejuve deck. Like, how do I break rejuve? And it's just to run more discard cards, in my opinion. Um, because like if you do like a trade in Blue Eyes and you have nothing else to discard, but then you activate a Dark World Dealings, and then you rejuve, like that is a pot of greed, and that's like a pot of greed that would have just been an upstart had you only discarded one with rejuve. So, man, I'm feeling a little bit better. I had my morning coffee here. I do need to get some water because my throat feels like it's on fire. We're gonna do 2 test hands with each of these decks, um, and yeah, it's low effort. That's what it is. That's what you get with my channel. I'm not trying to make money on this stuff. I'm just loving the theory. I'm out. I'll be right back. All right, we back. Um, so we're gonna do the spell version with no reckless in it first, and we'll just do like 10 games, I guess. Um, yeah, let's do like I don't know, or 10 like hands for each of them. All right, so how's this looking? Um, frankly, not that great. Like, do we jam a Cards of Consonance? We do have an extender with this, but would I wait with this hand? I guess it depends on if I were going first or second, and that also depends on like if there's a threat on board. But let's just jam it for the sake of it. It's 1 discard. Okay, hand just got a lot better. Um, 2 discards. Um, the chance we draw a tuner is very high. We do want to probably pitch the allure for card destruction. So what I'm thinking about is setting Cards of Consonance, despite it not getting us as deep into the deck. So what are we really trying to find right now? So we desperately need to find Rejuve. We have another instant fusion, plus if we draw enough, we can just magical stone it back. So I want to discard the maximum amount of cards as possible, but I don't want to. So is the 1 extra card now better than most likely hitting out of a 5 card hand, one of 6 more, um, what do you call them? Tuners. So if we We have 6 tuners in deck. I think with a deck this size, if I just had to mental math it, that's probably in like the 70 to 80% range. Oh, we're drawing 4 cards, so my math is going to be off. Whoops. Discard hand. And we're getting 2 more if we find a rejuve. Draw 4. Yes, rewarded. Alright, so it's better to activate the set one. Add one of these bitches. Yeah, that's pretty fucking good. So we foo-foo first to thin our deck because what we really want a reju, like bad, and we have a bunch of ways to get it. So this goes. We have 1 trade-in index, so we're not concerned about keeping these. It also makes your future fusion better, by the way, running this engine. So we sent 3 so far, I think. We have 1 Blue Eyes search, so we want to get that off. And then Flamveil Guard is good to have engraved, just if you need to like brio something with priority. So that's 5. We get 1 search. And then we keep the maximum amount of tuners in hands, or tuners in deck, or I think those are all the right searches. Yep. Sorry again, I'm sick, so I'll be tripping yo. So we did 5, and then now we're gonna trade in first, because we don't have any blue eyes to search. We just searched 1. That gets 6 discards. We draw the rejuve. Nice. Now, I mean, that's like about as far as I think we need to go with it. Like, this is like a borderline auto win Dragon Turbo hand. I mean, I guess if we wanted to keep going, we could. I mean, it's not like we're not gonna use this. We have a normal summon, so there is a world where we like want to do something. I mean, a lot of this, like, again, depends on like the game state. So like in an instance like this, like, would we want to like Cards of Consonance Whitestone? I don't know. Like, because we might want to like instant fusion and like make a brio, um, and do something like it really, and then like redraw our hands. Like I don't I don't know. Like it really depends on the game state. Like, the purpose of this video is like more to just show like how much better you can get your shit in motion. We drew the Whitestone anyway, so like in this instance, we probably just set this. I think we're at 7 discards now. Uh, we have like an ability to draw the rest of our deck, but like at this point, what we're going to be like setting up for is, I mean, we could even like set instant fusion if we wanted to. We probably wouldn't just because it's part of our combo anyway. Like with Whitestone, like if we needed defense, like we could set it. Like I don't know. Like again, it really depends on the game state. But let's draw 7. Like another thing to consider also with this is like we might not have wanted to discard like the last cards of consonants because we might not actually want to draw 7. We might just want to draw 6 or something, or even 5. So like we can uh, like avarice and then maybe do like a smaller rejuve later. So again, that's not the point of this video. It's very game dependent, but let's just do another test hand. See how it goes. So test hand 1, uh, I guess we'll just call it like God tier, mid or bad. So I'd say like the first test hand, like if you have a problem with that, then you've got a problem with yourself. So here, this hand's less good by a lot. We could Dark World Dealings into discard Blue Eyes, and then we at least have some draws with Super Rejuve. That's way too weak in my opinion, and in this case, the Dark World Dealings is a minus. So I think in this case, you pass and get your face beat in, then draw another card. And here things could get good. Let's see. So here's probably what you're going to send. You're going to get a white stone out. You're going to get at least another white stone out. You're going to get a Drago out. You're going to want this grave as utility. And then you have 2 blue eyes to search. How many? We probably keep these for trade-ins. And then we are going to be lower on consonants targets. But we're going to have 2 blue eyes in hand. So we actually send this, I think. And then we search the blue eyes. I don't know. Again, I haven't played Dragon Turbo in a while. And like this build, like I think we want to keep a Vice sometimes just because it enables a lure. So that's our hand. We thinned a lot, and this next draw probably decides the game. And that's insane. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like Dark World dealings just sometimes like 1 card deeper is all you need. And now like we should be able to win this, like almost no matter what. And if we really want to dig, we could, go one of a few ways. We have 2 discards. So again, game dependent. We have a heavy. We could instant fusion, bring out like just a scary board or even a Drago, and then refill. And then next turn we have Avarice. We could also, depending on the game state, like Avarice, try to draw more discard cards and then rejuve. And because we have like 2, like we could even like realistically what we could even do is like we could instant fusion and like bring out a red med, summon something, and then tribute it off for blue eyes, and then we're like representing a blue eyes maybe after like a heavy storm or something, and then we have 2 different draw 4 trap or draw 4 cards with super rejuve. Like there's just so many different things you can do depending on the game state. I mean, or realistically, like if you wanted to, I don't really think you would at this point, but like you could even like instant fusion. Nah, you couldn't do that. Never mind. Or like you could Pot of Avarice first and then draw a bunch of shit and like try to extend even more. But like with a hand like this, like I don't know if you need to do like any like that much. Like now I'm thinking like would you Avarice first and then see what you draw and try to extend for more super rejuve draws? Or would you just like kind of like do a mini pop off, which is like this, like special summon this, like maybe make like a blue eyes or a clear vice or Quakimeru, and then like even if you blew out your heavy and then like let's like then you could like draw 2, then you could like draw another 2 in the end phase. So like kind of what you're left with is hopefully a heavy that like blew out some stuff, and then a red med that they have to deal with, a summon negation, and then 6 cards in hand, refill next turn, a combo next turn, an extender next turn, and then like your draw phase, like, and then you can like do it all again, like, then refill with rejuve, like. So I would say like okay, 2 out of 2 test hands, god tier, like both, fucking totally god tier. Let's reset deck. I'm only gonna do like 5 test hands actually. These are taking way longer than I thought they would. So this hand looks kind of mid so far. Never mind. This is what I'm talking about with conversion math. Like you're almost cutting in half your brick rate. So, yep. This is what I'm talking about. Like your card just convert more. Like you're bordering like 70%, like when you run a deck like this of like conversions in your opener. So what I would do first is Allure, just because we know this is like the worst card, although Consonance, we know we're gonna discard this. We might draw a trade in, which would be better to discard with this, but like Clear Vice is the premier Allure target, so let's just try this first. Where the fuck are you? Banish. Another conversion. I'm telling you, do the conversion math, y'all. It works. Don't throw darts at a board. Bet on sure things, motherfucker. All right, so that's one discard. Oh, that was one discard. Sorry, my brain is like 1 mile a minute today. One discard, and then we're obviously activating this. Draw. Oh, look, I win the game. And then we discard this. This is two discards. And then what your dumbass can do if you don't know it is you can normal this. You go instant fapper. And then you special summon this in defense. Oh, look, and it's all because of Dark World dealings. And then you synchro. And then you make a Braijanek. And then you get a search. And then watch how I do this, bitch. Bye, Blue Eyes. I don't need your ass. You ain't doing shit. And then you bounce this to hand. Lol, kick W. And of course, in the game, do not comment saying, "Oh, you should attack first, and then you can brio." Like, yeah, I get it. I get it. Braijanek. And then like here, like depending on what your opponent's playing and like your grave and stuff, um, debris. Like, have we already used the debris? No, so we're probably gonna draw into one anyway. Um, oh shit, I wasn't paying attention. Did I not count that last discard? So I got one, two. This is two. This was synchroed. Three, four. Yeah, we're at four discards. And then I would probably just pitch the debris anyway. We have so many of them in our deck. Bring this back to hand. We're at five discards. And then you start with a brio. And then I mean I don't think there are many scenarios you'd want to be discarding red men. But let's just draw five. Oh, hello there. So now next turn we can do some crazy shit. Let's just see what we draw for next turn. And I mean, you could go a million different ways with this, but you have instant fusion to bring out this. You have this to combo off with two red meds. You can Pot of Avarice some stuff back after, and then you can future fusion if you want, and then like there's just endless. And then you can Avarice this stuff back, future fusion, like draw, uh, and then like add the blue eyes back to your hands, and then like that's more Brio fodder if Brio survived. Like you can do anything, and like whatever you're gonna have two new cards from Avarice. You're gonna have another card from this. If you want to then refill, now you have a magical stone re-excavation, and then you can just add a rejuve back depending on how much you discarded, and then you go +4. Like I guess 3 out of 3 games you got a God Hand. Let's try it again. Let's see if my theory works. This hand's looking like hot buns. Never mind. Is there any reason to again conversion there? You're just always getting conversions. Um, there any reason to upstart first? I think so. I think so. Oh, hello there, motherfucker. Hello there. All right, so ass, ass. I want my blue eyes. Biatch. Uh, my God, I'm so sick. My brain's. I might have to do like a two-parter on this one. My brain is like not where it needs to be right now, folks. Um, sorry, that's disgusting. Where the fuck were we? I would send, I guess, the clear vice. I don't know. And then we add the blue eyes. So we just invite 8 cards. And then we go trade in. And in this case, we do have a Lurin deck, so we would want to keep that clear vice in hand. Upstart first, I guess. And shaping up to be pretty good. So still not seeing a rejuve. It's very unlucky. There are a few options here, so you could like it, again, depending on if you're going first or second, I would say you could like heavy, and then you could like go off and maybe like even, my God, pardon me. You could maybe like do a debris, white stone, like bring out a red med, bring out a blue eyes. You could bring out a Quackimera Drago and just like try to pressure over 2 turns. And then you have follow up with like magical stone into another heavy if you think they can't out your board, which could be enough to win you the game. We haven't normal summoned this turn, so there's no way for us to. Yeah, so your only aggressive play is to go debris and then do that. The other thing you could do is we want to keep the debris in hand, so other thing you could do is magical stone this turn, and you're obviously pitching the blue eyes, which puts you at 2 more discards, and then you could go for like the desperation play and just see 2 more cards and like really hope it's your rejuve. I mean, there's 21 cards left in deck. Us having not seen one is pretty unlucky. So that puts you at 5 discards. And then this gives you even more options. You're not going to be drawing any more cards this turn, but like you could like do a debris, bring back like a white stone or like a Flamvell Guard, and let's just bring back the white stone. And then like if you sweep with heavy, like this is if you're going second, by the way, which is like sometimes the case, you could OTK them, like if they don't represent a bunch of shit on board. So, although you wouldn't really have heavy access in this case, but like for science, like you could even go something like this. If you just wanted to get like really aggressive, you could just bring out like a Brio, if they didn't like set a lot, or you could bring out like a Iron Chain and then like go for Trident Dragion. Um, what was I gonna say? Did I fuck up that sequencing? I guess it depends on what you're going for. So like let's just assume you're going for like a Brio. You could like bring out a Brio and then like bounce. Let's just say they have two cards, and then you could bounce like their two cards. You banish this, and then you like bring out a Blue Eyes, and then I mean that's lethal damage if you bounce their cards and they don't have Gores. So I mean that's something you would go for on turn one if you had it probably. It would have been nice by Ruju, but I'm gonna call that a God Hand. Like honestly, like that is a God Hand. So you um what you did was you had two options. You could either just go for the lethal line with Brio if they just have two cards and you just say you better have Gorge Trag, like, and if you don't, I win. Or like you could go with that other play which I described, which is like more of like a two-turn like type deal as opposed to getting like really, really reckless with the trade-ins. But either way, I think we got kind of like unlucky, like 19 cards in, no rejuve. All right, so that's four test hands. I don't think I'm gonna do the test hands with the other deck. I'm not feeling that great. Um, Actually, we'll do them. We'll do them. Fuck it. We'll do them. We'll just probably clip it, and I'm gonna get some more water. Um, so test hand number 5 with this. Uh, you could wait. Like you could even play like a control game and go like Drago, like reveal. You better answer it and like wait to see another card. Let's not. Whoops. Let's not do that. Just because the point of this is just like opening hands are the most important. So let's just say like opening hand. Let's go. Oh, see what happens. You don't want to like play a mid game. So that's another auto win. Holy shit. Like 5 out of 5 of these have just been insane hands. Um, yeah, this just breaks Dragon Turbo. Like this just shit's so fucked. So we did this. We're gonna activate this. We're gonna Magical Stoner Excavation, and we're gonna pitch. I guess it depends, but like we're gonna want to pitch probably Quackimero Drago, and then this can enable stuff with instant fusion. This is a trade-in target. This is also a extra consonants target, so we're probably just pitching the um, debris. That puts us at 3 discards. We get this back. If we really wanted to, um, we could wall up with a Flambeau Guard. Let's just say we wall up with a Flambeau Guard for hand size reasons. We're going to draw 3 from the first rejuve. 1, 2, 3. With this hand, we have 2 discards next turn and a really good like instant fusion extender. But I mean, like, it's up to you whether or not you'd activate the second rejuve, just because this is a pretty good follow-up hand anyway. Because you could like next turn you're gonna have an extra card. You could go trade in Blue Eyes. You have instant fusion debris plays. You have Dark World dealing plays if you want to draw more, and like you have a pretty good chance to draw a dragon in 2 draws. And then like the additional 2 draws, so you're going to see 4 cards deep with trade in. So like even with this hand, you don't like really need to rejuve, but let's just rejuve for the fuck of it, which is always why you save rejuve for the end phase. Stop activating your second rejuve in the main phase. Fool. All right. Draw 3. Like here, things like even just get nuttier. Like you probably don't need the Dark World dealings at this point anymore. I'm guessing. Uh, you have 2 ways to convert trade in. Um, you have consonants. Wow. Like, do you just draw your whole deck again? Like honestly, you want like all of these cards. Like one, you might even like just pitch instant fusion, honestly, because you can get it back, which is insane. Um, and let's just see what you draw next turn, like for draw phase. And then you're gonna go like this plus the Blue Eyes in this case, because you have a Lurin deck. And then we're at 1 discard. And then you go white stone first here. 2 discards. Blue eyes. Now you're at 3 discards. You discard the blue eyes because you have an allure target in clear vice. You draw 2 cards. You have a way to get back rejuve, instant fusion. You haven't seen heavy yet, but either way, you're just drawing more cards at this point. So I think that's 4 discards. Oh shit. And then like from here, you could probably like Pot of Avarice and then Future Fusion all the junk out. And then you could like even like set stone, uh, and then you hold the upstart, and then you could like even card destruction, and like you're just gonna have an OTK hand. So, in that case, that's 5 out of 5 hands were God tier, where you like almost automatically win. So this build just fucking kicks ass. Like I'm not gonna like sit around here and say, oh, I might have found something good. This shit kicks ass. Like try it out. Like I think I just found the recipe for Dragon Turbo. So, um, let me know what you guys think. I think I'm gonna cut it here. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break and then also um do the reckless build. The reckless build's a little bit more watered down. But uh I'm gonna go through it more quickly. My throat's just killing me. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. I'm gonna make this one quicker. We're just gonna speed through. So if I misplay, that's what it is. Oh fuck, this hand's terrible. I do think this version is worse than the other one, by the way. Like the one that goes heavier on like the conversion cards, like Allure and what the fuck he's called? Clear Vice, I think is better. So this hand's pretty shit. Like I don't think we would want to do anything other than like probably pass or like set up a Drago if we need to stave off like some early game aggression. For the sake of it, let's just jam the Dark World dealings and see what happens. Well, I guess this doesn't really accomplish much, honestly. Luckily, we didn't go -1 on Dark World dealings, but at the same time, it um, fucking did get us Future Fusion, so like we'd have a few options to thin, and then we could do some like shenanigans with a red eyes and like a Drago or a red eyes and like a blue eyes, or we could. I mean, we could bring out like anything in our deck with like red eyes at this point if we wanted to. So this doesn't look good though. So let's give it one more turn before we call it a bad hand. Uh, Never mind. I'm gonna call this. I'm gonna call this because it was on turn 2, which for traditional Dragon Turbo this would be a god hand, but for my deck, like I'd call this I'd call this like mid to good because this is turn 2. And then we probably just win. So 1, 2, we want the Dragon Turbo or the Dragon Searches. 3. Yeah, we're gonna need Pot of Avarice, and if Pot of Avarice gets, honestly, I don't think we can afford to send. I don't think we can afford to send the debris because, like, if in real life or in real game, like we were to get crowed on our Pot of Avarice, then we just lose probably. Because we just can't get that back. But we're gonna draw. We could do it again. No, 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 no. No, we could do it again. We have magical stone excavations. How many did we send? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh shit. Yeah, we drew a lot of the stuff we would want to send, and like that's why Clear Vice is also good. So I think we would have to send a Blue Eyes here. and then just search one of them, which is not great. And then here, depending on the game stage, because this is turn one, we could do like some sort of debris, bring out red eyes first, just because like, do we really just want to like discard a red eyes for nothing? So let's just like assume we do that, and then we bring out the target, we banish it, see what happens, and then just draw four. Uh, yeah, draw four. The other thing is like we don't have any good targets. Whoops, for for our discard cards anymore, just because we had to thin them. So like, in this case, things aren't looking too hot. We have like, assuming that we establish this on board, we'd have some pressure, so we would have like this plus like blue eyes, just because we don't have a dragon in, or we do have a dragon in hand, but like we could either make this, and then we have two reckless for refill next turn, or we could play like the lockdown game, and then like pray to God we hit like a pot of avarice or something, and then like reveal, see what happens to our board, draw, and then yeah, like see like when you play the reckless, like it's not like that it's a bad card, but like you do have to play in multiple waves. Like you just have to like play like in a very different way. Like you're not just spamming spell cards, and spell cards are better than traps, but like with this, yeah, like I mean, if you decide to go the reckless route, like you just have to play it in multiple waves because like it's one of your power cards in multiples, and like it takes a turn to two to set up. So in this instance, we would let's just say like maybe Drago got answered. Let's say our red eyes got answered. Uh, what would we want in our grave? Like we don't really want anything in our grave at all in terms of spells. We'd really like a heavy or something. Like yeah. See, that's the thing. Like based on the way like our opening was, we still have like great ways to win this game. Like we have instant fusion, and we can bring out like this. Like we could bring out like even this with the fucking whatchamacallit, the red med, and then like we can make a brio and like try to get aggressive or something. But like there are multiple ways to I think play out this game. But I'm gonna put this in the mid category. I think this was mid, but I think the opener was fine. I think just like the circumstances of what we drew was bad. So to summarize so far for the first deck, we had five like borderline god tier openers. For the first hand on this deck, I'd say it was kind of mid, but I still think it was better than your average Dragon Turbo opener, the traditional version. This could be very good. This is fucking amazing. Come on, Dueling Book. There we go. 1, 2. Jesus. And then we go Rejuve. We Magical Stone. And then we have two discards. We get back to Rejuve. And then we go to the end phase. We draw 3. And then we, in this case, definitely want to see more cards. So we draw 3. What the hell? Did it not work? Draw 3. And now our hand's looking pretty good. So first of all, Draco goes unless you're playing around something very specific like a crow. Heavy Storm, Red Eyes, pardon me, and a way to get Red Eyes on board, obviously stay. So the question then becomes between, and Trag you're obviously keeping, Dark World Dealings, Whitestone number 1, Whitestone number 2, just because it will search out a Blue Eyes, which we need to discard, but we don't really want to, like, because there is a world where we might just want to keep the Whitestone, honestly. Like both Whitestones, I mean, because we're obviously keeping one. Reckless, depending on the game seat, could be a little slow. Again, it super depends. And like Dark World Dealings does something. It allows us to dig at a non-minus. So I'd say like how this hand is shaping up, I'd probably discard Reckless. And then we go to our next turn. And of course we draw another fucking Reckless. That's crazy. Watch us draw our Blue Eyes. Okay. This goes to grave. Yeah. An instant fusion would have been really good here. So we have one discard. And then that's it. So in terms of the way this game shapes up, we probably are in a very tough spot. Yeah, we're in a tough spot. Unless we, yeah, yep. I'd say this is, I mean, let's just say that like we had to force ourselves to use Reckless. Yeah, I'd say this is a bad hand. So in this deck, again, kind of specifically because of Reckless, um, we have like one mid hand, one bad hand for the second version of the deck. Reckless is kind of gonna make us have to play a little slower. And here's what I was talking about with Dark World Dealings enabling trade-in. So this, of course, happens first. We get to search our Blue Eyes. Which is one discard for rejuve. I mean, you could say like, hey, I'm gonna hold this and then like draw a shit ton so I make sure I find a rejuve, but again, that's such a huge risk if you're going second. So, I mean, if we were going first, I mean, you could wait. This is our second discard. Oh my god. And now we're just in the money. Like, we're just in the fucking money. We're gonna see what we find with Upstart. Now shit just gets ignorant as fuck. So, and then we would sync with like probably this, and then we'd bring in a Brio, and that's one discard, two discards, and then we synced with that, so we get a Blue Eyes search. And then we trade in this bitch. I mean, we would, yeah, like, oh my god, this is just not so McFutso, dude. And then we are at 3 discards, a bunch of rejuves. What we do is set this. We don't need another debris, so we pitch it with Brio, bounce this to our hand. We want to keep a debris in hand. We set this for hand size. We activate one, end phase, draw 4. And then there's the consideration on whether or not we like even need to activate the other rejuve just because we can fetch it and we have reckless, double reckless coming in, which is just another refuel. The issue with this hand is that it's not actually like putting any pressure on our opponent. Like we would really want something like a sweeper and like a red med so that like we could do that and then also rejuve. So I think there would definitely be like we can't just draw cards. Like this is just like a huge draw card hand. So we need to find some mix. Draw four. Draw four, motherfucker. Uh-oh. DB just crashed on my ass, didn't it? That's a fucking shame. Let's see if it refreshes. Oh no. Will it reconnect us to a solo game? It did. Lol. Um, draw four. And then wow, we still didn't find a red med. That's really unlucky. So we have consonants. I think it's too late in the game to ever consider anything with future fusion. So that's getting tossed. This is a great combo neighbor. We don't need. We might need to bring back a rejuve with consonants, honestly. I mean, I think we still keep our reckless just because we have one down. So I think upstart can go. And then how many cards do we have left? What, 7? So we got to find the weakest of these. We do have a consonants target, but debris is gonna probably be used as a combo enabler. Magical stone, I think, gets very important if we want to like pop off and then start refueling with a second rejuve. Because like what probably would happen is we would reckless, we'd have some useless dragons. We could probably pop off with a red med, and then we'd want to like read magical stone, discard like the extra dragons, and then just like refill again with the rejuve we get back. But next turn we could like Card of Consonance, Glanville Guard. Um, but at the same time, like, yeah, I don't know. Either way, I'm not going to spend too much time on like what the next sequence would be. Just see what the next card would be anyway. Blue eyes, so yeah. Um, whatever. So I'd say so far with this, we have one God tier hand, which was this one, the mid hand, and then the bad hand. So that's 3. And only 2 more hands to go. Draw. So cracked, right? We just fucking drew a cracked hand. Last turn's God hand, by the way, if you weren't paying attention, it's courtesy of Dark World Dealings. That probably goes. That goes. That's 3, I think. 4, and then a Flex Dragon. So it's gonna be a debris. Add these 3 motherfuckers to our hand. Whoops. We'll get that in a second. And these go for a discard. We're at 1 discard. Draw 2. This hand's looking insane. This card goes 2 discards, draw 3. And if we really want to be picky about it, we don't necessarily need the Dark World Dealings, just because we could stone for the rejuve after discarding 2 blue eyes, but I think it's definitely correct to dig here. Hello. 3 discards. Uh, We're gonna draw another debris unless there's something we wanted to do. Magical Stone is just too important. 4 discards. All right, now we're drawing the good stuff. 5 discards, and this is pretty much everything I think we need. So like in this instance, you know you're going to be drawing at least 5, 10 if you need to, and then you have Magical Stone like next turn if you want to like, and you'd set this, like you're not just gonna like randomly discard it, but like because you're gonna draw a shit ton of cards, so you like set these. If they get heavy stormed, they're dead probably anyway. I mean, maybe you want to like keep your Magical Stone in hand if you really value it. Um, but like at least card destruction gets set, and then end phase, you draw 5. This is really good. You'd need to assess whether or not you even need to activate the second rejuve, because now you have pot. Um, but you need to figure out like what your combo is next turn, like what you discard. So how many cards do you have in hand? Like what, 8? So you're keeping heavy, trag, red eyes always. You're keeping debris always. You're keeping pot always. You're never really. I guess you could. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like you just. The thing is, like you could go about it one of two ways. Like if you think you can win next turn with heavy and like some red eyes combination, depending on what like the game state is at this point, but like you might not know a lot about that because this might be turn 1 on your end. Just because this deck again is assuming you're going first with the reckless greeds. It really depends on what you're playing against. But let's just draw another 5. I mean, I don't know if this is correct or not, but yeah, now you have everything. Like you just win because like you have combo enablers, you can clear, you can then immediately then like set like recklesses and refill with no worry about rejuve, magical stone excavation. Like if you wanted to keep a magical stone excavation to like bring back something, you have it. Like you just have everything at your fingertips. You just have to assemble your perfect combo hand. So, um, last one. Let's reset the deck. So far, 2 god tier hands, 1 mid, 1 bad, with the reckless version. Oh God. Well, uh, Jesus Christ, that is insane. It's so bad. So you can't even plus off the future fusion. So what I think you have to do here is future fusion to thin your deck of a bunch of stuff, but then you're probably just drawing like a bunch of like discard cards plus targets anyway. All of your trade-ins are going to be dead in this version. And then all of your white stones need specifically. I think in this type of hand you just like pray for rejuve and you want to thin your deck out as much as possible. Just get this junk out. Just be like, all right, like I can't be drawing any more monsters. Discard 4, or I guess yeah. What am I doing? Discard hand. Draw 4. Yeah, total brick probably. Yep. Yeah, you just lose this game. So, okay, that's interesting. So for the 2 different decks, again, I think it really did matter having those clear vices in there, as well as the Dark World dealings and the additional conversions with that, and then not having to wait for Reckless Greeds, because Reckless Greeds they're not engine, so Dark World dealings kind of is engine because it literally enables multiple cards in your deck, like Rejuve, Whitestone, and shit like that. So it fuels your grave as well. Like if you need a certain thing in grave, it fuels that. So it is an engine card. Reckless isn't. So, I mean, at least from this testing, to summarize, the first deck had 5 out of 5 God tier openers, or at least very good openers. The second deck had 2 good openers, 1 mid opener, and then 2 bad openers, which I'd say is pretty much almost exactly what you'd expect from like a normal-ish Dragon Turbo deck. This isn't like a normal Dragon Turbo deck, but I'd wager that if you were to play just like the very traditional Dragon Turbo decks that people are playing like right now, it would probably be like a 2 good openers, 1 mid, 2 bad, if you did it over a large enough sample size. So I think the first deck has a lot of promise. I mean, I really do think like Dragon Turbo is going to have to figure something out, like especially as a going first, going second strategy, just because Reckless is such a liability going second. And if you can side in like another engine, that might be worth it. But uh, let me know if you think this is going to break Edison, break Dragon Turbo, if it's the next big thing. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.